Hi there, I'm Grace Walton. I attend Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia, and today I will be reading for you my paper titled Guitars Ghoulish, Ghastly, and Gaunt Ghosts. In Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon, hauntings arguably drive the entire novel's plot in a subliminal way. The hauntings within the novel are simultaneously buried within the text details and in the reader's face, from the looming spirit of Emmett Till haunting the entire text, to minor hauntings of deceased fathers and fabric scraps affecting each character individually. There are two major types of hauntings that appear frequently in Song of Solomon: personal hauntings, or hauntings revolving around one fixed person, and traumatic memory hauntings, or hauntings that revolve around a traumatic event. Morrison creates a pattern of one type of haunting affecting one character. Guitar, however, breaks this pattern by being haunted by both of these major types of hauntings. Toni Morrison uses guitar as a character device to define, compare, and teach the audience about different kinds of hauntings that fall under the broad idea of haunting theory. Ultimately, guitar introduces the reader into the field of hauntology through not only showing what the two major types of hauntings within the field are, but by comparing the similarities between the two. Hauntology, created by Jacques Derrida, is about the recurrence and remembrance of memories, a common theme for guitar. Hauntings, in a theoretical and literary sense, are not quite what one thinks when they hear the word haunting, and although haunting theory does not exclude spooky stereotypical ghosts that one might see on Halloween night, it does go much further than that. Derrida describes the core of hauntology as this, quote, non-object, this non-present present, this being there of an absent or departed one no longer belongs to knowledge, end quote. Derrida generates the very meaning of hauntology through this simple quote from Spectres of Marx. Hauntology is about memories. Being haunted is about something, an event or a person or an object that has previously existed and has either ceased to exist or has disappeared. The remaining memory of said thing, though there is no lasting physical imprint, lingers. Guitar experiences both personal hauntings and traumatic memory hauntings in the novel, and the memories from those continue to reanimate themselves in his daily life. He personifies Derrida's descriptions of hauntings. Derrida further claims in the quote that haunting no longer belongs to knowledge, and this is accurate because hauntings cannot be inherently knowledgeable because they are, by nature, personal and internalized. Unlike physical people, things, or objects, memories cannot be measured by numbers, and if they cannot, then they are considered a non-present present, as memories do exist, just not on a physical level. Memories are at least a present for a character who is haunted, but if it cannot be seen or touched, then it is a non-object, as Derrida would describe. Guitar's memories align with Derrida's description because Guitar internalizes his feelings, and other characters cannot see or feel the hauntings that he experiences, so to those other characters, they do not exist. To everyone but the reader and Guitar, the hauntings are non-objects and non-present presents because they do in fact exist within Guitar, but only Guitar. Personal and memory hauntings are frequently appearing hauntings in hauntology, and Derrida classifies these two types as different from the very beginning. Derrida speaks on the beginnings of these two by writing, quote, an unnameable or almost unnameable thing, something, between something and someone, anyone or anything, something, end quote. Derrida acknowledges that hauntings can be fixated on objects by writing, quote, between something and someone. A character or person would not be referred to as, quote, something, but rather as a someone. Therefore, the something is indicative of an inanimate object. This quote ties into traumatic memory hauntings, or as it is sometimes called within hauntology theory, remnant haunting, which is haunting between a character and some kind of remnant. A remnant is going to be an object or a symbol through which hauntings manifest. These hauntings merely use a symbol to represent the underlying traumatic memories. Meanwhile, personal hauntings are alluded to by the first words of the quote, quote, an unnameable or almost unnameable thing, end quote. Using the word almost is an intentional choice by Derrida, yet it is an easily overlooked part of the sentence because that almost changes the quote's meaning by taking the unnameable adjective that could describe an object to making it a description of a personal humanistic trait. Personal hauntings are usually, but not necessarily, a deceased person's memory that haunts another person, and this is the exact haunting that we see with Emmett Till. The ghost of Emmett Till is not unnameable. yet his ghost looms namelessly through many scenes in the text. A representation of an almost unnameable personal haunting is when Guitar and Milkman break into Pilot's apartment to rob her. The text reads, quote, "The moonlight was playing tricks on him, for he thought he saw the figure of a man standing right behind his friend," end quote. Although it is contested as to who the shadow figure represents, one can tell that the figure remains nameless, and given that it is described as a figure of a man, it is meant to represent a person. The figure remains nameless and is not acknowledged again by Morrison, but it has significance in the novel, especially to Guitar, even though it is unnameable. Personal hauntings can be unnameable, or they can be almost unnameable, like with Emmett Till. Sometimes the characters are consciously aware of these hauntings, and other times they are not. Emmett Till's impending ghost, however, will always be a non-present present in the text. Guitar as a character is atypical. It is seldom that one novel includes two major types of hauntings, let alone having one character plagued by both types. Analysis of Song of Solomon does require historical context, especially when it involves and revolves around major tragedies such as the lynching of Emmett Till. I learned that such novels require further study into their genres. Patricia Yeager writes, "Ghosts and Shattered Bodies, What Does It Mean to Still Be Haunted by Southern Literature?" A research paper that discussed different texts that fall under the broad category of Southern literature and involve hauntings. Song of Solomon is included in this group of texts. In Southern literature and through Yeager's paper, common themes are revealed that are present in both Song of Solomon and these other texts. It is fascinating that the remnant hauntings or traumatic memory hauntings appear frequently in this genre. Yeager writes on remnant ghosts in her introduction, saying, quote, "They not only hide in old houses and graves, but behind letters, in bottles, and the intricacies between products," end quote. Yeager establishes the importance of remnants in hauntology through mentioning common ghost symbols. Letters, bottles, products are all physical objects, and yet it is ironic yet beautiful that authors use physical objects to convey something that, as previously mentioned, as a haunting is internalized and non-physical, the non-present present. Other novels listed in Yeager's paper often revolve around the symbols she lists. This makes Guitar and Song of Solomon unique for including so much more than one remnant ghost. Guitar is a character device by Toni Morrison to use to introduce the reader to hauntology and to draw similarities between traumatic memory and personal hauntings. This is his purpose. Yeager writes on the dress fabric haunting Guitar, claiming, quote, "From Morrison's characters, the remnant or scrap calls up a totality. It is not a throwaway, but a call to political action," end quote. Political action and a need for change is a major component of Song of Solomon, with most of the cries for change being present in Emmett Till. Emmett Till's ghost haunts not just Guitar, but Milkman, the 7 Days, and even minor characters such as the Tommies. When speaking about Yeager's claim with the dress fabric, however, the claim is incorrect because the fabric represents human emotion, sympathy, and guilt. Song of Solomon reads, quote, "Every night Guitar was seeing little scraps of Sunday dresses. The scraps stayed with him all night and he remembered," end quote. Guitar is remembering the traumatic church event and is being haunted by the remnants that are associated with this personal memory. It's his main association and motivation for joining the 7 Days. But these scraps are, in fact, important because they have caused the emotion that drives the political change and the want for Guitar to join the 7 Days. The fabric's literary function is not to act as Morrison screams for change. After all, the other ghosts directly do that well, such as Emmett Till. Rather, it's going to create Guitar's main character function, which is to introduce the reader to hauntology. Guitar introduces the audience into what hauntings are in a literary context by simplifying the complex intricacies of hauntology and by slowly subjecting the reader to the two simple, common, and major types of hauntings. Morrison writes in these baby step hauntings, like the dress fabric, that Guitar then projects to the reader, giving them a sense of confidence when interpreting hauntings on their own. The fabric is a symbol of Guitar's guilt, and when it appears in the text and keeps Guitar awake at night, the audience can see the fabric as a ghost that eventually will bring him to join the 7 Days and cause further action, as Yeager notes. This fabric haunting offers the reader knowledge into traumatic memory hauntings. Personal hauntings, however, are dominated by Emmett Till. It is necessary to note that both Emmett Till and the fabric are essential in order to help teach the reader about hauntology. because they share different types with common ground. Emmett Till manifests and haunts Guitar via obsession. Guitar is bothered and enraged by Till's lynching. He allows anger and hatred to rise within him. The emotions drive Guitar to commit mass murder, and said mass murder leads to Guitar being haunted by more of his own guilt, which is the dress fabric. The two hauntings are intertwined. Not only is one necessary for the other to occur, but both manifest inside Guitar as feelings. Till haunts Guitar through emotions and a thirst for vengeance, while the fabric haunts Guitar only after he avenged Till through this guilt. The hauntings bring forth the same consequences on Guitar. They bring chaotic feelings and thoughts into his life and drive his actions. Morrison uses Guitar to show that these two drastically different hauntings can express themselves in the exact same way and bring forth the same outcomes. Personal traumatic memory hauntings share a lot in common, but at its core they are both hauntology, and they both seek to interpret what and how memories can affect characters and people in literature and in life. Guitar's function in Song of Solomon is more than a secondary main character. He provides the reader with an introduction to the field of hauntology through the display of and by making comparisons between the two major types of hauntings. Hauntology studies the recurrence of memories and claims that ghosts are just internal memories. Memories and ghosts, or memories that actually are ghosts, are a major theme of Song of Solomon as well. Patricia Yeager writes on the genre of Southern literature and claims that hauntings within the Song of Solomon are all a cry for political change. This is entirely possible and is likely true with Emmett Till's ghosts, given that the real lynching of Till results in political outcry. But I do disagree with Yeager's claim about the dress fabric being a cry for political change. The fabric is a symbol of Guitar's guilt over murdering the church girls, and this guilt is just an emotion. Emmett Till and the fabric haunt Guitar directly through his emotions, and although Till may indeed represent an overarching cry for political change across the whole novel, he manifests as emotional. The manner in which these hauntings manifest, as well as how they are both essential for each other, such as how they need each other to occur, shows the resemblance they share. Morrison shows the reader, whether they are new to the theory or they are Jacques Derrida himself, that these two hauntings are more interwoven than one might think. They all encompass many distinct types of hauntings, and there are many different types of hauntings in hauntology theory. However, Song of Solomon speaks that ghosts are not just spooky, scary white skeletons or cloth-draped dead people, but the sad and horrifying reality that ghosts are these obsessive thoughts and traumas and undying sensations that refuse to dissipate from our conscious thoughts. Thank you so much for listening.